So let us continue our talk with data communication and networking. And we are especially talking data transmission. So let us start with the transmission impairments. So with any communication system, the signal that is received may differ from the signal that is transmitted. That is due to various impairments. Means various problem may exist, various attenuation may take place. That is why various transmission impairments are there, and the consequences are especially for analog signals. There are degradation, or there is degradation of signal quality, and for digital signals we have bit errors. So the most significant events include all these impairments are attenuation or attenuation distortion, then delay distortion, and then noise. So what is actually attenuation in signal processing? What does this, or transmission, what does this attenuation stands for? It is actually signal strength falls off with the distance. So if we have a short distance, we'll get a good signal. But if the distance is long, then the strength of the signal we get at the receiver end is less. So on which it depends? It depends on medium. For guided medium, that is, the attenuation is generally exponential, and thus is typically expressed as a constant number of decibels per unit distance. These guided mediums are coaxial cables like, and unguided media like wireless communication. The attenuation is more complex function of distance and the atmosphere. So makeup of the atmosphere also takes place. So three considerations for this for any transmission engineer are: a received signal must have sufficient strength so that the electronic circuitry in the receiver can actually detect the signal, and the signal must maintain a level of sufficiently higher than noise to be received without error. Because if noise becomes higher than our actual signal, then noise will be taken as the primary. So we need to have this noise less and as less error as possible. So these two problems are dealt with by using these amplifiers and repeaters. This attenuation is often an increasing function of frequency. Means as the frequency increases, this attenuation also increases, which leads to our attenuation distortion. So some frequency components are attenuated more than other frequency components. This attenuation distortion is particularly noticeable for analog signals. The attenuation varies as a function of frequency, as I just mentioned. Therefore, the received signal is distorted, and this is reducing with some intelligence. What is a delay distortion? Distortion actually it occurs when the velocity of propagation of a signal through a guided medium varies with frequency. Right? One frequency goes fast, one frequency go less, or pretty the speed is less. So there is a delay in these two frequencies, so there is a sort of distortion. So various frequency components of a signal will arrive at the receiver at different times, as I just showed you. So the resulting phase shift between different frequency will take place. So they will be received at different phases. The delay distortion is particularly critical for this digital data as well. So some of the signal components of one bit position may spill over into another bit position. So there will be an inter-symbol interference, which is a major limitation to our bit rate or maximum bit rate which can be transmitted, or transmission channel can make over. So for any data transmission event, the received signal will consist of the transmitted signal. modified by various distortion which is imposed by a transmission system, plus additional unwanted signal. Right? These are additional unwanted signal which are nothing but the noise which are inserted somewhere between the transmission and reception. These undesired signals are often referred as noise, which is the major limiting factor in our communication system performance. And we have no command over it because atmosphere is there, losses are there. Now we need to find a best way to receive signal with the power and with the quality we want. There are four categories of noise. There may be thermal noise, there may be intermodulation noise, there can be crosstalk as well, and also the impulse noise. What is this thermal noise? Or also we call it as white noise. So white noise and thermal noise are actually similar, and this is due to our thermal agitation of electrons. The electrons agitates and they create heat, and that is why thermal agitation is there. So it is present in all electronic devices and transmission medium as a function of temperature. That is why this is called thermal noise. So it cannot be eliminated, and therefore places are upon bound on communication system performance. As I said, some of them are not very much under our control, but we can limit them. There is intermodulation noise when signals at different frequencies share the same transmission medium. The result may be intermodulation noise, that is, signals at frequency that is sum or difference of original frequency or multiple of those frequencies will be produced. If one signal is there and it adds up with another signal or multiplies with another signal, then we'll have a intermodulation. Means two frequency they are arranging or creating some difference of multiples of frequency. This is intermodulation noise. For example, the frequency of signal say at f1 and f2 might produce frequency which is f1 plus f2, or rather f1 minus f2, or maybe f1 into f2. So this derived signal could interfere with the intended signal at the frequency this f1 plus f2. There can be crosstalk, that is, it is unwanted coupling between signal path. So it can occur by electrical coupling between any nearby twisted pairs. This crosstalk is of the same order of magnitude or less than thermal noise. Then we have impulse noise. This impulse noise is non-continuous. This is consisting of irregular pulses or noise spikes like this, of short duration and of relatively high amplitude. So it is generated from a variety of cause, means external electromagnetic disturbance such as lightning. So it is generally only a minor annoyance for analog data, but it is the primary source of this error in our digital data communication. It is still a concern. Then the channel capacity. What is the channel capacity? The maximum rate at which data can be transmitted over a given communication channel. But under given condition, it is referred to as channel capacity. So the maximum rate of data transmission over certain communication channel is our channel capacity. Then what is the data rate? The rate of bits per second. Because actually, you send bits in digital way. So bits per second for a second at which data can be communicating is actually data rate. And bandwidth, again, this is computed in cycles per second, or you say hertz. So this is constrained by our transmitter and the nature of the medium. Then we have error rate. What is this error rate? The rate at which the error occurs when an error is the reception of 1 when it was expected to be 0, or vice versa. So we would like to make as efficient as possible of a given bandwidth. That is, we would like to get as high data rate as possible at a particular limit of error rate for a given bandwidth, right? A bandwidth is fixed. We want highest data rate, but the error rate should be minimum. This is what we actually want. So the problem is again a given bandwidth, what data rate can be achieved? We want it to be highest as possible. There is Nyquist formula. We assume it to be noise free. Okay. Then when we come to Shannon capacity formula, for that we assume that it is consisting of the white noise or a thermal noise. So let us see this Nyquist formula. Assume that the channel is noise free. This Nyquist formulation, if the rate of signal transmission is 2b, if the rate of signal transmission is 2b, then a signal with frequency no greater than b is sufficient to carry the signal rate. So for a given bandwidth, highest signal rate which can be achieved is 2b. For a given bandwidth b, Nyquist formula says the highest signal rate can only be 2b. So why is there such a limitation? This is due to intersymbol interference, such as is produced by delay distortion. And this is given, you have a given binary signal that is two voltage levels. The maximum data rate supported by bHz is 2b bps, bit per second. For bHz, it is 2b bps. So one signal represents 1 bit f. So signals with more than two levels can be used. That is, each signal can each signal element can represent more than 1 bit, right? So if a signal has 4 different levels, then the signal can be used to represent 2 bits like 00, 01, 1011. If it has 8 levels, then 000 to 111, all intermediary combinations. So when multi-level signaling, the Nyquist formula becomes C is equal to 2b log 2m. What is this m? M is the number of discrete signal level. B is the given bandwidth and C is the channel capacity in bit per second. So how large this m can be? The receiver must distinguish one of the m possible signal elements, like these are the different signals, and noise and other impairments on the transmission line will limit the practical value to m, or practical value of m. So this Nyquist formula, it indicates that if all other things are equal, doubling the bandwidth doubles the data rate. Again, this Nyquist formula says that all other things are equal, then you double the bandwidth, it doubles the data rate. Now, Shannon capacity formula. Now consider the relationship among this data rate, noise and error rate. So faster data rate shortens each bit, means so the burst of noise affects more bits. If you want to send it fast, the rate this each bit is shortened. Means at a given noise level, higher data rate result in higher error rate. Higher the noise, higher the error. So all of these concepts can be tied together neatly in a formula which is developed by Claude Shannon. This is for a given level of noise, we would expect the greater signal strength would improve the ability to receive data correctly. The key parameter is SNR, which is signal to noise ratio, which is actually the ratio of the power in a signal to the power contained in the noise. Right? Signal to noise ratio, power of signal to power of noise. Typically, this SNR is measured at receiver end or TR, and because it is the receiver that processes the signals and recovers the data which has been sent. For convenience, the ratio is often reported in decibels. This is signal power to noise power. This is SNR, and because it is in decibel, 10 log 10 SNR. This Shannon capacity formula, the C is equal to B log 2 1 plus SNR, only when white noise is assumed. Therefore, it represents the theoretical maximum that can be achieved. maximum capacity which can be achieved. This is referred to as error-free capacity. So given a level of noise, the data rate would be increased by increasing either the signal strength or the bandwidth. And as the signal increases, so do the effect of non-linearities in the system, which leads to increase in intermodulation noise. Because noise is assumed to be wide, the wider the bandwidth, the more noise is admitted. Thus, if B increases, then SNR will also increase. Bandwidth increase means signal to noise ratio will also be increased. Oh, sorry, decreased. If B increases, B will decrease. SNR will decrease. Let us take an example. Consider an example that relates to our Nyquist and Shannon formulation. Suppose the spectrum of a channel is between 3 megahertz and 4 megahertz, 3 to 4 megahertz. This SNR is 24 dB. So, what will be the bandwidth? Just take difference of these two. It will be 1 megahertz. And what will be the SNR? This is given as 24 dB. So, let us employ it in this 10 log 10, and this is the SNR. So what will be the SNR in dBs? It will be 251. If you take this is log 10. Store 10 into log 10 of SNR, log of this value will be actually 251. Now using Shannon formula, the capacity limit is given by C is equal to 10 to the power 6 log 2 1 plus SNR. Okay, what we are going to because this formula we are using B log 2 1 plus SNR. SNR we have computed just now. SNR is 10 log 10 SNR. So what we have done, we have computed this what SNR by in dBs with this expression, and then Shannon formula 10 to the power 6 log 2 1 plus 251, that is 8 Mbps. So if you want to achieve this limit, how many signaling levels are required at least? Because Nyquist formula says it is equal to C is equal to 2B log 2M. So we have this 8 into 10 to the power 6 because we want in BPS. 2 into 10 to the power 6 into log M, and this will be equal to 60. Right? This will be equal to 60. So we have computed this M because we know these two. And we'll just 2 to the power n will be equal to whatever value this is, and this will come to 60. So what are the key points? All of the forms of information that can be represented by electromagnetic signals, and depending on the transmission medium and the communication environment, either this analog or digital signals can be used to convey information. Any electromagnetic signal, that is analog or digital, is made up of number of constituent frequencies. So the key parameter that characterizes the signal is our bandwidth, which is the width of the range of frequency that comprises the signal. So in general, the greater the bandwidth of the signal, the greater its information carrying capacity. So the major problem in designing a communication facility is transmission impairment, including attenuation, distortion, and various types of noises. For analog signal, transmission impairment introduces random effect that degrade the quality of the received information. And this can create problem. And for digital signal, transmission impairment may cause bit errors at the receiver. So the designer of communications facility, he must deal with 4 factors: the bandwidth of the signal, the data rate that is used for digital information, the amount of noise, and other impairments, and the level of error rate that is acceptable. Because sending an error rate is high, there is no point in sending and receiving them. So the bandwidth is limited by transmission medium and the desire to avoid interference with other nearby signals. So because bandwidth is a scarce resource, we would like to maximize the data rate which is achieved in a given bandwidth. So the data rate is limited by bandwidth, again the presence of impairments, and the error rate that is acceptable. So hope you got the idea of impairments. Thank you so much. Take care.